Hi, this is Tim with Shop Tool Reviews. Stick around in a few moments. We've got Milwaukee's 1/4-inch die grinder, which is in their M18 cordless platform. This is the Milwaukee 2784, and it's their 1/4-inch die grinder in the M18 FUEL platform. Now, as the 2784-20, you get the bare tool, but the 2784-22, you get the two 5.0 amp hour batteries, along with the charger, the blow molded case, as well as the two tools here to make it easy to install and remove the bits in the arbor. Now, it's a typical 1/4-inch arbor, so any of your bits are going to work there, whether you're using a carbide bit like you see here, a flap disc, maybe a sanding disc, maybe some sort of Scotch-Brite pads, what have you. But just make sure you're using bits that are rated for 20,000 RPMs, because that's what this unit turns. Now, I've used many die grinders in the past in the 1/4-inch version in both air as well as electric and even cable-driven tools, but I've never used a 1/4-inch die grinder in a cordless platform. So I was really curious how well it would work, and doing some typical fabrication work as well as doing some porting work on an intake manifold, on cylinder heads and so forth. Common things that you would see in a shop being done with a 1/4-inch die grinder. And I wanted to see if it would truly be as handy, because if it provided the power but didn't provide the battery life, it still would be kind of a pain to switch out batteries all the time. And even worse, if it didn't have the power to actually cut into some metal, actually cut into cylinder heads, intake manifolds, or even clean up fabrication after a weld and so forth. I was pleasantly surprised when doing so. Actually, the day we got this, my neighbor came over, had something that had broke on his tractor. I had to weld it up, and it was right along a bolt hole, so I needed to clean that bolt hole so that bolt would go back through it. It was about a 1/2-inch thick steel plate, so it wasn't something that was real skinny. It was actually something that was pretty thick, and I needed to clean up. I put in my carbide tip, as you see here, and it cleaned up rather easily. There was no problem with power. I could really bear down on it and clean it up with no loss in power from the tool or much bog in it. Now, I could really lean on it and get it to bog down, obviously, but again, for most of the pressure that I would typically be putting on a tool like this, it did quite fine. I wanted to see how well it would do in a porting job, so I pulled an aluminum intake manifold off a recent disassembly, and it actually still had the intake gaskets on it, so it was a great time that I could actually mark out on the intake manifold what was sticking out below that gasket so that I could port match that. And so I took a quick permanent marker, marked that, pulled the intake gasket off, and actually used the 2784 to massage those ports to gasket match that intake manifold. And I was curious how well it would do, how well I could control the tool. And I was pretty surprised, because it is a pretty long tool. You've got some weight back here, you've got some weight in the motor, and then even up front here. And actually it balances out pretty well. So I was surprised by that. The 5 amp hour battery actually balances the tool out well. I don't think I would like it as well on a smaller battery, or maybe even a larger battery. I might try it later with a 9.0 amp hour battery, but I like the balance it gives with that 5 amp hour battery. But I really had no loss of control with the tool. I was able to hold it with both hands, massage those ports as I needed, and then I actually put a flap wheel on it and cleaned a little bit of the surface area where the gaskets were. And then later on, even took my carbide bit, did some more opening work on just some typical 1/4-inch or 3/16-inch angle iron, as you can see here, as well as putting on a flap disc and a sanding disc to do some other work. In all the work that we did, it did very well, had no problems with power, lasts quite a long time. I didn't do a runtime test, but in all the work I've done, I've still got 3 bars left, so it doesn't look like something where you're going to wear out those bars. Now, if you're using it for fitting all the time as a fabricator, I don't know that you're going to do that, but if you're doing that and using that on pipe flanges or what have you, you may have to change out batteries, but it's going to be quite a long time before you have to do that. So the tool worked very well. Battery life was excellent. Be sure to check it out. Again, it's the Milwaukee 2784-20 is the bare tool for about $199. And then the 2784-22 actually comes with the two 5 amp hour batteries and the charger and the tools. And that runs about $399. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And have a great day.